Okay, more about The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. So last time I was talking about the word gay in the book. And so there's another word, kind of similar, that's used several times in the book, uh, which is kind of funny considering what the word is used for now. I kind of I feel funny saying this word because at one time this word was offensive, and I guess so. It wasn't offensive when this was written. This word that's used in here several times. The word was not an offensive word at the time that this was written, but then it became an offensive word, so the word took on another meaning. And then apparently the word has been like uh, I guess not offensive. Maybe I think maybe because a certain group of people have taken possession of it, and so it's not offensive to them because they took possession of it. So I kind of feel funny even saying this word. But I'm not meaning it in an offensive way. I'm just reading the word and like, okay. So the word is queer. So it's used several times in the book. It's just like at one time it was like just one of these words that people like bullies, like people are like picking on other kids maybe or even adults using the word. Like they would use this word to insult someone. So now it's used to identify a certain group of people. But at one time, long time ago, like when this book was written back in 1911, the word well, I guess for a long time before that too. Uh, that word queer just meant strange. So when people use that word now, it doesn't. They're not meaning the word strange. It means something completely different. So every time I'd come to that word, I'd be like, oh, whoa, whoa, this is weird. Reading this word so many times in this book because knowing what it means now. So not what the author intended. I was kind of even thinking like I'm surprised they haven't gone back and like changed the words in like that word or even the other word. Uh, it's kind of surprising they don't like go back and change the word since the words have gone on to mean something else. Because it does seem like it would be kind of wrong to change the words because that's not what the author wrote. But like because the words have gone on to mean something else, it might possibly confuse uh, later generations uh, because they might think that it means something that it doesn't. So on page 75, no, page 175. Okay. Yeah. Um, So Mary is noticed Colin was acting, I guess, kind of spoiled at one time, and she called him rude. Uh, yeah, and then okay, so then Colin says this. Am I rude? Colin inquired undisturbedly. If you had been his boy, if you had been his own boy, and he had been a slapping sort of man, said Mary, he would have slapped you. So I think that's talking about the doctor. Yeah, doctor. Okay. He would have slapped you, but he daren't, said Colin. No, he daren't, answered Mistress Mary, thinking the thing out quite without prejudice. Nobody ever dared to do anything you didn't like, because you were going to die and things like that. You were such a poor thing. But, announced Colin stubbornly, I am not going to be a poor thing. I won't let people think I'm one. I stood on my feet this afternoon. It is always having your own way that has made you so queer. Mary went on, thinking aloud. Colin turned his head, frowning. Am I queer? He demanded. Yes, answered Mary. Very. But you needn't be cross, she added impartially, because so am I queer. And so is Ben Weatherstaff. They're all queer, apparently. But I am not as queer as I was before I began to like people, and before I found the garden. I don't want to be queer, said Colin. I am not going to be. And he frowned again with determination. Don't want to be queer. He was a very proud boy. He lay thinking for a while, and then Mary saw his beautiful smile begin and gradually change his whole face. I shall stop being queer, he said. If I go every day to the garden, there is magic in there. Good magic, you know, Mary. I am sure there is. So am I, said Mary. Even if it isn't real magic, Colin said, we can pretend it is. Something is there. Something. It's magic, said Mary, but not black. It's as white as snow. Okay. So, if someone didn't know anything about this book and when it was written, and they just read this one page, the dialogue in the page, they might be possibly be bothered by what's being said by the characters in the book. Someone saying they don't want to be queer, I am not going to be. Or they just might be like thinking something else is going on when this little girl is saying that she's queer, and she's saying someone else is queer, and saying another person is queer. So yeah, they just mean strange, not what it means today. I think my shoulder just cracked. Okay, so I just thought that was interesting to interesting thing to say there. So I'm glad I finally read this book. since I said a long time ago, like about 30 years ago, back in fifth grade, that I basically quit. I gave up on the book. I didn't have the patience to read past the first page. So about 30 years later, I did it. I read the book. So I feel good about that. Glad I finally did it. Because it's not nice to. It's not a nice feeling to feel like you have to quit something. Like you couldn't take it. I just I didn't really like reading that much back then, back in fifth grade. Like I when I was thinking back to fifth grade, I think I did like I probably read some like some very simple books, uh, like children's books. Mostly, I probably just like looking at pictures in books. So I wasn't really that much of a reader back then. I do remember like there were a couple things that I was if I was really interested in I do remember getting uh, a couple books, but I don't know how much of it I read. So I probably mainly got it and like looked at pictures and maybe read a little bit. But I might have read the whole thing. Cause so there was a book. I remember a book about Billy the Kid because I saw the movie Young Guns and I really liked that movie. So I wanted to learn more about Billy the Kid. So I remember looking at a book about Billy the Kid, and I remember looking at another book also because of a movie, The Elephant Man. So I wanted to know more about that because that was a shocking movie. So I do remember back in fifth grade that I looked at a couple of those books. Like those are a couple books that I looked at. I just don't. I'm not sure how much of them I read. But this book, it does have some pictures in it. Uh, like here's another one. That's um that's Colin at the end when he's uh running. He's running because he wanted to show his father that he could walk like a normal boy. So there's a lot of nice. I guess it's like the yeah, it's the original illustration that came with the book back in 1911. See if I can see any other good illustrations in here. It'd be nice if they were actually in color. They're all in black and white. Well, this one's kind of nice. This is just like a drawing at the front of the book. It's at the back too, but it's the same. Yeah, it's the same drawing. Oh, here's another one. This one's nice. So there's some nice artwork in the book.